fun. Takes me back, Mikey. But yeah,
Certainly does.
They've got to play the spacing on YBB. Just get this early start in 7E, connect with your Drow for the push on mid from low, and just kind of go from there. Shut down the map, prevent the Lina from farming.
Let's see how it pans out. YBB against Poke, game number 1. YBB currently undefeated. Poke, I mean, obviously looking to get some wins under their belt to still be in the running to try and get to that upper division slot if they can. Though it's looking very rough right now, to be fair. Meanwhile, Lu, on the Drow, pretty far forward, not looking like he's going to get punished for this. Going to be just fine to back himself off. Meanwhile, towards the south, looks like V also getting punished just a little bit, but is going to be able to orb away just fine. And Poke, we'll see if they really want to fight this, because it seems like YBB might be happy to oblige. Already kind of setting up here on the top side of the rune spots, or rather top side of the river. Just waiting to see if somebody does fall into their trap. Aaron, the man that may do it. You're going to have 7E there as well. Repositioning from Lu, but underneath an observer ward, it seems like they've got enough info now. They won't fall for this shot, unless they throw more bodies at them, which they just might force the fight, knowing they have the vision here, rather than the vision advantage. Look through. The Drow are going to be just fine. Ranfu Dao going to go for a bit of a run himself, cops a fair bit of damage. That's kind of the thing about going against Coddle level 1, just so much damage can be dealt.
Yeah, we've seen it before. We've seen particularly C loves First Blood with that Coddle up there. Not going to get it this time around, but the damage is significant, and that does at least give him an equal bounty rune trade. The mid that we're looking up, 7E on the Coddle. We have seen Coddle mid a couple of times now. I think, I'm actually trying to think, I think we've seen it offlane a bit more from certain teams that have been picking it up. The lane matchup against Puck is pretty decent. Like, you will be farming up. Puck's not going to be able to stop you. You can always dodge out the orb. You're not under threat for the Waning Rift silence as well, with how far you can stand on that Keeper. So you can just accelerate into that Travel's Urn timing, make that space happen in the map. The one thing Poke does have is really good rotations from Aaron. So if Aaron can leave his top lane at some point, just get some solo EXP going for Killa when he's stabilized, you could go for that early opportunity onto the Coddle while he's vulnerable.
Absolutely. The top lane, Aaron trying to get involved right now against our Rubik, Qian Ming. Going to try and back his way out. He's going to cop a fair bit of damage there from our Drow Ranger as well. It's kind of the hard thing about this lane for the Tusk, right, is you're against two range heroes, and against the Drow Rubik, it's never going to be very fun to try and close the distance, even with Killa as your laning partner. And hell, Killa going to try and trade a little bit of harass with our Rubik, but you do have to be somewhat cautious because the Drow just gets involved and suddenly you find yourself in a bit of danger.
Yeah. And the one thing for Low here is that he's not under major threat until you maybe get the Snowball Shards up, so that's a level 3 timing for Aaron. Before that point, there's no real easy way for Killa to gap close onto Low and look for a kill opportunity. Qian Ming is free to just poke and prod with his ranged advantage as well. So you should have a pretty stable lane for your Drow here. You're not going to be zoned out. You'll hit that timing with your Wraith Band into Power Treads, into probably your Dragonlance, and you're kind of set to go. Whether or not Low will want to join in for a mid-shove in early on is a different question, but we have seen Drows more than willing to get that space going on the map early on.
Yeah. The other side lane going, like this bot lane's easy Q and beyond against Ranfu Down, of course, Lun Fur. Seems like it should be a decent enough lane for the leader. Mind you, Beyond's having a better time right now on that offlane Marcy. Ranfu down that pos 5 Dawnbreaker as well. Like, I question what the hero does in this role. So it just, the nerfs to Celestial Hammer you saw just make it so it just has such a short range. Damage output is still kind of there for Ranfu Dao, but against Phoenix and Marcy, it does feel like it could go pretty rough.
Yeah, it's all down to whether or not ZZQ can land the Fire Spirits. Every time he does, you kind of take away the bite of the Lina and the Dawnbreaker in this lane. Like early on, Fiery Soul's not going to be able to overcome that attack speed reduction. So you can control this lane in the first few levels very nicely. And when you do get a rebound off, if you did have your spells, you could easily burn through that Lina.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage being dealt already. Lunfer kind of getting those warning shots from Beyond, just so cautious not to get caught by that rebound. Especially at the level 3 mark for these two heroes. because both their damage goes up significantly at level 3, at least in terms of these spells, especially for ZZQ, that the Fire Spirits actually start dealing some damage at level 3. So we'll see what Lunfer does as they make the jump in again. A little bit preemptively, but maybe they still have enough for the kill as they do go for the Icarus dive in, but Lunfer is going to survive. I thought they would wait for level 3 on their Phoenix, just for the level 2 Fire Spirits, or even the Sunray if you really wanted it, but it seems like they will not.
I do like this move out. Like, it's forcing resources onto Lunfer, forcing out the salve usage early on. So he gets a little bit of a reset, but he's running out of stuff to just stay in the lane, whereas you've got a lot more left on YBB to keep playing that poke game. We're seeing top Aaron just kind of chased away by Chan Ming. And again, this DP and Tusk lane needs levels as well. Same thing with YBB on their own off. The issue is you aren't able to really soak up here on Aaron. He's not able to get pulled. He's not able to even just stand the lane. He's just giving Killa the solo EXP now, but as long as that level 3 stalled out here, without that snowball threat to gap close, you're not going to be able to get aggressive on low. And again, the Drow. It can flash farm relatively quick in the jungle, and its power spikes feel maybe a touch faster in terms of objective taking. So that is something to be mildly cautious about. For Killa's part, and he's still farming well. And Aaron is up with a good shards here, but no follow through.
Jump in, ZZQ. Let me chase down here on the Phoenix. Starbreaker's gonna land, but oh well, the last strike doesn't at least. ZZQ still trying to run Fu down. Well, he has Celestial Hammer in 3 seconds if he wants to pop up, at least get a salve cancellation out of this, but he'll just put the ward down for now. ZZQ just gonna be able to run away and get full value out of the salve, no issues. Very passive kind of game so far between these two teams. 0 kills, 5.5 minutes in. Neither side, well, at least in the bot lane, they have been trying, and they are going to try again. Lunfer, he's left alone. Here comes Ranfu down to try and help out. Lunfer now might be able to try the turn, but not with ZZQ and those Fire Spirits. He'll just leave them be. Here he comes again. Ranfu down now being targeted by ZZQ. But as we see, they just don't have the damage output quite yet to actually kill anyone.
Yeah, I mean, when you do jump in with these two heroes, the tendency is to clump up for that LSA. So you still have a lot of windows there for Lunfer and for Ranfu to connect their own spells, get some good damage off. It makes it hard to go for that all-in. And they still try to charge forward, but
Beyond?
the slower start. Huh?
He kind of went pretty far forward. Ranfu now doesn't have the mana, so couldn't keep actually trying to chase down Beyond, but now he's the one in danger. ZZQ gonna go for an Icarus dive in, and that's first blood. ZZQ able to secure on the Phoenix, and it's just one of those things like Ranfu Dao just feeling so confident to keep chasing Beyond, but literally had 0 mana to speak of. Meanwhile, top lane, Tian Ming now gonna find himself in trouble as the chase is on. Aaron with a nice snowball is gonna land it onto the Rubik. He may make it out low, not able to continue chasing as Killer is gonna be able to zone him out with the Spirit Siphon. So the Drow gonna have to watch his Rubik die, but nonetheless, 1 for 1 so far across the map.
Yeah, not the biggest losses in the world. That kill is a lot more important for YBB to find out. And you've got the Phoenix, you've got the Marcy. They do need some EXP to get going. Not to say that Aaron finally hitting level 3 is by no means a small thing. It is big. And Killa has level 5, level 2 Spirit Siphon. Yeah, they're here with a rotation.
Very nice rotation from 7-8, securing the kill on the Coddle. And it's one of the things with this hero, like you rush boot to travel, he's running at 471 movement speed, and it's just kind of hard to run away from this guy now.
Yeah, it just goes back to that lane. Again, up against a puck, you're just going to be able to farm equally. You basically out-farmed the puck as well, poking into the camps when in between waves when it's shoved out. And you just have this impact on the map. Like, you can make a lot of stuff happen. He's got the money straight up to buy the urn soon. It's heading bot.
Oh, maybe they can find the Coddle though, 7E. He kind of ran right into the Starbreaker, but he's okay to back off, just barely. It's Ranfu down now, the one in trouble, and so is Lunfer. They really want the leaner. They'll find the Dawnbreaker first, but Lunfer, he's still trying to run, maybe turning back around to 7E, but no. Won't land the Light Strike Array, but is still zoning them out just enough. So you get the leaner out of there. Lunfer, he'll be okay with that. And I suppose you kind of avoid the worst case scenario here for the side of Poke.
Yeah, that's a pretty awkward TPN from 7E right in the front. Feeling fairly confident that you could get some attention away. Does pay off in the end. That is a lot of room for poke up here with Killa to get a push going with the DP, though. Chanming can only stare at the tower as it falls, but they're TPing towards mid.
Low's actually going to die to the orb here. So they do find the Drow Ranger, but it may cost them V on the puck. V going to try and orb away, but just can't get the jaunt off, as it's taking too much time for the orb to travel. A 1-for-1, and you'd kind of argue it was worth it for the puck to get that kill, but keep in mind, the puck is currently second in net worth right now, so I'm not quite sure about that. Maybe it's not so worth.
Yeah, it's a big kill to find. And even though losing low is a big blow to YBB, this is a Drow that can still farm in the jungle. Map control is still in YBB's way. Their top jungle might be a bit more exposed in the lower ground, but everything else is still fair game for low, while that mid-tier 1 still stands. The big thing you get for that is the initial earn charges for 7E. So you can fully commit for these kills now. It's going to be a lot easier to punish the Lina if Lonfur is overextending. Additional DOT on top should be enough to clean him up if he does run. And that's just set to escalate. Straight for the Spirit Vessel afterwards, a bit of a shove down bot to equalize the map. And YBB, they've got the kill lead, not too much in net worth, and most of that is hanging in 7E. But if you get the space going for Beyond and Low, these heroes do escalate quite fast. Again, it doesn't feel like they're going to need as much in terms of itemization for a bit of a mid-game spike at least.
He's going to be all right here. I thought they might jump in for the Dream Coil, because they had 3 heroes in the mid lane, and they could still try. It just seems like they're afraid of the rotations that could come here into the tier 1 mid tower. YBB, I mean, nobody was around, but I suppose you've always got the TPs ready. Somehow Low, he'll survive. With that, YBB, just continue farming the map. Poke will do the exact same thing. I mean, both these drafts do tend to move a little bit slow until you hit the mid-game timings. So both the Drow and the Lina are obviously going to want to farm quite a bit before they actually get going. And it seems like their teams respectively will do the exact same thing. Just play the kind of slow game, buy their course time, get those core items up and be really ready for it. For now, it just seems like neither side's really too interested in moving out until you've got things like the Guiding Greaves perhaps on Killer, the Armlet on the Marcy. Still plenty of items to come out before this mid-game really hits.
Yeah, I think for the side of Poke, you would want to play around with some pick-off potential once Aaron does have the punch up. Like, just get a rotation out with your Dawnbreaker around, snowball on top with the shards. Doesn't take too long to delete one of the softer targets. Like, say, the Rubik, Chanming's probably just a very easy go for a kill, but he's been playing pretty well just soaking top, you know, not showing on a map, standing in the tree line, getting his EXP towards 6. He will smoke up here with V and Aaron. So let's see if they find something. That Walrus Punch is up here.
Oh, ZZQ, he's in a good position to break the smoke on the Phoenix. Aaron might run right into him, though I don't think that's the target they really want, but they might have no choice in the matter. Very good positioning here from ZZQ. He'll tank the gank for his Marcy, and well, beyond, he'll be able to just safely retreat out of that. Yeah, top lane,
not the
Killer.
biggest kill.
He's got no support to tank the gank here, John. He's in a bit of trouble, but he can always just go for a TP out, and there's nothing to cancel it.
And that is one thing with the support duo of YBB. Once you get the lift off, and it's a fairly long cooldown across every level, you don't really have a way of stopping from 107. He's in a bit of danger, though.
Is he, though? He might be the one that knocks here, John. Ranfu down, going to be chased down, and well, the Spirit Siphon's out from Chanming. It might just be enough, and well, they do land that blinding light. That is going to mean it is just enough to get the kill. Problem is, Chanming has been caught out, though. Egg will be dropped, but it is a very far forward Egg. Rebound, it's not going to make it in time, but there's your buyback. Ranfu down, going to rejoin the team by taking down Beyond. That was really close to being a very, very strong play from YBB. Had the rebound landed earlier, but not quite enough.
Just a little bit too late. Great response out from Poke. They're even dragging in Lonfur early on to just participate. They know they need his damage output here. Gonna be able to find a mid-tier 1 for the trouble. No Egg to save in this team fight. And that is gonna lead to a nice, easy pickup for the side of Poke. So now they can start pressuring the jungle. This is where things can get dicey for YBB. You've got a Kotl, you've got a Drow. Both of them do need some build-up. Even a Marcy's gonna need build-up as well, though she's likely to just soak it from kills in the lane. But until these items are up, this is where you can just play the pick-off game on Poke. Like, you've got the Tusk, you've got the Dawnbreaker, you've got a Puck who's highly mobile. you have a lot of ways of just jumping forward first. Side of YBB will go for a smoke play though. Mind you, this is without Egg. Let's see if they find an angle here.
Oh, Lunfer, he would be massive. 70. Breaking the smoke, but does have the Spirit Vessel along with that Solar Bind. Still Lunfer barely able to survive. Instead, 70, the one to drop on the Keeper of the Light. So even find the Phoenix. Tianming, the only survivor here on the Rubik, is going to try and walk his way out. Killer keeping up, but not going to bother trying. Nothing to lock down the Rubik. He will be just fine. That's massive, though. Finding the mid-coddle, finding that support Phoenix. And Lunfer, he still walks out with his life intact.
Yeah, it's a awkward angle to force, right? You're running in, you don't have these hard stunts in your supports outside of lift. You didn't have your Marcy around. Beyond is just, again, farming down bot. So your jump in angle was basically just use Urn and hope to burn someone down with a Solar Bind. And it's just not enough. It's still a TP point for Poke to get in the nick of time. And for YBB, maybe just a bit eager. You know, maybe feeling like, all right, Lena's probably alone. We don't need Nova. But you still need a Marcy around in some form. At least they do find Ranfu solo. So Beyond just showing us again how Marcy can just press R and delete a hero. Doesn't quite make up for losing 7E though.
Certainly does not. At least Beyond's getting close to the BKB, and that's the big timing for the Marcy as well, right? Like, you can really jump in and feel confident you won't just get bursted down immediately. It's kind of the thing with the Marcy, like, if she's allowed to just run around without being controlled, it's very simple to just burst down anyone you want with that Unleash, no matter how much farm they have. Even that Lena. 7E, though, like you kind of mentioned, John, he needs to get his act together a little bit here, because he's fallen behind in net worth, and well, these early kill attempts just have not worked out, even with the Vessel up. Killer just so confident to stand forward. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Snowball's going to be committed to try and escape this gank attempt. YBB, though, they'll have full control over Eren, and that'll be another kill to go the way of Beyond. And I actually like the fact that Beyond's finding these kills because, again, I think the BKB timing is just so darn powerful when it comes to Marcy.
It is. It's really key to the hero to have that impact into the mid to late game, just setting up for that snowball aggression that the hero wants to really get done for the team. For YBB, this Marcy is everything they have to jump in. And like, you could start with Phoenix, it's not the ideal. They're going for Ranfu, huh?
Yeah, Gust to the low ground. They've got low, just doing all the damage, and that's going to be more than enough. That's the thing with Drow Ranger, right? Like, you pick up a Dragonlance, suddenly you just hit like a truck, and well, Ranfu Dao, I suppose he is just a pos 5, so nothing he could have done about it. But it seems like YBB, they're kind of getting it together. You know, just grouping up together and making plays across the map. You love to see it.
That's what we need to see them constantly apply. Just this constant pressure on the map, cut off any area to farm, force Lonfer to have to walk up top into that jungle. You don't have vision here in YBB, so you can't really punish the Lina. But you're buying space out for low. And the Drow is reaching that point where you've got the Shard, you're going to go into the Hurricane Pike. This here can just delete something like the DP pre-BKB so fast. The Guardian Greaves are up. Even that's not going to be enough to deal with Hypothermia plus the Spirit Vessel on top if they stack that usage at the right time for YBB.
Yeah. Not very fun to play against, that's for sure. It's a very slight net worth lead right now for YBB. We're in that stage of the game once again where both teams seem more than happy to just sit back, farm some stacks, and just take it easy for now. Especially for Poke, like, they just don't seem interested whatsoever in grouping up and trying to force any kinds of fights. Maybe now that you've got the blink up on your puck, like, V could maybe set up with some nice dream calls for his team and follow up that way, but it just seems like most players are just fine to sit back for now. As bottom lane, well, they might just lose their task. Eren, he'll buy himself a little bit of time here with the snowball. Doesn't have anything like a blink up yet. We'll get Icarus sniped on by ZZQ. Still trying to get out. Is actually doing a nice job of juking. In fact, he might make it. Oh, but he doesn't. Beyond barely gets there in time. They will get the task.
Yeah. And these support pickoffs, again, not the biggest deal, but they are ramping up. As you mentioned, giving it to Beyond. His BKB is almost done at this point. They should be able to start clumping around that very soon. They catch V alone.
Well, he was gusted up there by low, which is why he wasn't able to run, but had you had a +1 there with a bit of control, you might have actually just had that kill. The gust from Drow just so powerful, even at level 1, 3 second silent duration. Let that Poke Probably very, very happy their puck gets away. Trying for a bit of a push top lane, but you're always going to have 7E there to defend with the Illuminate. So no real chance of that happening. And I suppose it's kind of the story here, right? Like, even if you find yourself in a great position where you can push high ground or push towers, as long as this Coddle's alive, you're always going to have the D push. And speaking of that Coddle, Run Fudel getting lifted up. 7E waiting for that Spirit Vessel. It won't do the job yet. Run Fudel still somehow alive, still running, but eventually has to drop. You even had Killer come in with the Guardian Greaves to try and keep him alive, but it proves to not be enough.
Not quite enough. If he had his own way of maybe dispelling off the Spirit Vessel, would have been a little bit more effective, but you don't really have that on the Dawnbreaker, unfortunately. Like, even a Shard actually doesn't dispel, it just gives you spell immunity. Very annoying. It is what it is. It's still really even. I think what I want to see now from Poke is just go back to playing around that pickoff you had with Aaron. We've seen them try the smokes early on, then they just kind of stopped and went back farming. Like, there is some good buildup you can get out on your Puck and DP, but with a Tusk, it all just feels awkward when you're just not looking for those simple pickoffs while the Tusk is just naturally strong.
Oh, nice little ward placement there by our Tusk, Aaron. Getting a pretty deep ward in that dire triangle, although it seems like it might just be scouted very early on here by Tianming. Top lane, bit of a group up here from Poke. You'd love to find 7E if you can. Dreamcall is committed. They're going to try for this, and they've got a lot of damage to make sure he does end up dying, and he will. Beyond shows up, has his BKB though, so he can definitely fight back, and already taking down Run Fudel. He'll go for Killer on the Death Prophet. Just look at the damage! Low will find Aaron with the Gust, and Aaron eventually will just fall. There's maybe now they can take down the Marcy, but she's still healing up. Unleash is over at least, but they just can't deal with her.
Definitely not. Like, with a BKB up and running, you just have nothing to stop her when she does initiate in.
Cute.
You blew a lot on the Kotl as well. What's up?
I've never seen that interaction, by the way, John. Sorry to interrupt with the Rubik Arcana. I didn't know Rubik's Cubes came out instead of Ghosts.
Yeah, it's a bit funky, but I guess it's cute. It would be cuter if there were like companion cubes for some reason.
Oh.
You know? Right? Like, they're nice. You're being attacked by ghostly cubes. Oh.
What have we become?
Yeah, it was a big steal from Tianming. Then again, I mean, how did Killa not really use spells after popping Exo walking up? Maybe, I think it came at the end, right as the TP came out, so the timing was just perfect. And, well, you're going to have Exo ready for a push if you do wait it out. Like, you have enough time for one more spell use here. That could lead to a lot of objectives melting very, very quickly, considering just the team fight presence of YBB. Like, look at 7E. He's going forward to BKB into the Hex. He's got the BKB up, Hex next. Once you have that one piece of control, just to ensure V's held down, the follow-through's there. Beyond can put in the work. Low can just show up, get some right clicks off. You've got the tools on hand, and with a 3K lead, you're in a pretty comfortable position on YBB to just hammer in more control on the map and keep trying to keep this Lina down from its full potential.
I mean, there is a bit of a group up mid lane for YBB. Just constantly making sure all the waves are pushed out, and that's a smoke. 4-man smoke up. Low, the only one that's going to be left behind, but he might just follow his team. No real need for him. He can bait. Aaron, though, great position, is going to break the smoke. Not really the target YBB wanted, but they'll be forced to take it, considering he does break said smoke. But now Roshan is opened up. They've got 25 seconds with a 4v5. YBB, they're going to try for this.
It goes really fast. You've got Sidekick, you've got Drow. It's really not going to take too long for that to melt. And you do have some counterplay. There is that blink on B. You could try to make something happen.
They could. They're going to try. Killer is in. Solar Guardian out as well, but Low. He's got the Aegis up on that Drow Ranger. Killer in danger, just getting Hurricane piked away. And look at Lunfer. He just got deleted. Beyond this Marcy, it's such a problem. Like, in the Roshan pit, it was just her versus the world. And she won. It's 3 down for the price of nothing for YBB as they even found the Aegis on their Drow.
Yeah, they had the right idea. They played with these blinks in, but the timing just was a little bit off, and Low, with a Hurricane Pike, just sends himself outside Roche, saves the Aegis for another usage, and now you're 9 to 17. Your Lina is forced to show up in these fights without the BKB, just melts at the output on YBB at the moment. It's getting a little bit tricky for Poke. I feel like they just didn't play hard enough when they were ready to go a little bit earlier, and they failed to punish Low for just farming up. Instead, they were the ones being jumped. Aaron was kind of acting as bait instead of an aggressor. And it still gives them the same thing, like space for Lina, in a very different way, in that you're not pressuring YBB for that space. So it's a trade-off you take, and the payout for YBB is here. They can just go for these pushes. You've got the Drow. Objective taken really doesn't take too long here.
No, it certainly doesn't. Tier 2 tower with the sidekick. Always going to be very, very handy there for Low. And of course, towers can't hit people with Dragonlance. It's very, very balanced here. I wonder if there's ever going to be a patch again where Dragonlance doesn't allow you to just attack outside of the tower range, but I kind of doubt there will be. Seems like that's just going to be the thing.
Yeah, maybe... I think it's less Dragonlance, more of just having neutrals as well. But then again, I don't want them to remove that stuff. It's fun. Like the Grofo, stuff like that. I miss the Ballista. See, I'm that sick, Mike. I miss Ballista.
Yeah. Well, why do your games go to 60 minutes anyway, John? That's my question to you.
I don't get to play them, but when I do, I'm like, oh, I'd love a Ballista right now. When we're casting game with Arc Warden, oh boy, wouldn't a Ballista be great?
No.
With Lina in the meta, oh man. Wouldn't Lina with a Ballista make your day, Mikey?
It certainly would, John. Certainly will. Thank you for that. That's enough from you. Tier 1 tower is gone mid lane. Meanwhile, Aaron just dies. ZQ finding the kill on the Tusk, and well, they're onto the mid tier 2 tower. Like, while this game has been really slow for YBB, and they have been taking their sweet time, it's very clean. 9k advantage, tier 2 mid tower gone. Top lane, TP's coming in. They see V with that Observer Ward. Very sneaky placement, by the way. And Low, looking for a gust, is going to see the puck, and the puck did not see him. Very, very sad. I think the Sentry Ward actually expired as he was running up the stairs. So he didn't see him in the Shadow Blade.
Yeah, just the wrong timing for the side of Poke. And you mentioned YBB playing passively. I honestly don't fault them. Their lineup should be playing a little bit more passive outside of like 7E, who can be aggressive, and he was early on. It's more on Poke. Like, this lineup there shouldn't be this slow. They should have been able to just play a lot faster with her Tusk timing, with this team fight threat from the Dawnbreaker globally, with her puck early on, having a, not a lost lane against the Kotl. Certainly not a winning lane, but it is Kotl. It just outfarms you. So because of that missed tempo, now you're dealing with that stronger 20 to 30 minute rising action for YBB. Whereas for Poke, I mean, you still have Alina. She has Gleipnir, Dragonlance working onto the BKB. It just feels like she's going to need a lot more on top of that. Like, no Hurricane Pike just yet. Travels on top of it for the move speed to zip in and out as well. It's more time that Lawn Fur needs to really become the menace Lina is known for. And if you never get that space out, then none of it matters. All that stalls for nothing.
Yeah. It's the thing as well, like, you get the BKB up, but then you're still worried about Beyond. Because Beyond can just jump the back with the rebound, and he can pretty much solo this Lina if he gets close enough at this rate. The Basher up, BKB up, like, there's not really much stopping Beyond anymore. If he closes the gap and he has a 1v1 with Lanfur, it could actually go his way. Pretty easily, in fact. So you can just kind of perma-bash the Lina. Top lane, Low. It's going to keep the wave pushed out. Already they have all the outer towers. No other structure to go for here for the side of YBB. They could just wait for the next Roshan because Aegis is about to expire in about 10 seconds. So they won't have that available for a high ground attempt. And it seems like YBB will just casually wait that out. But now you do have a Silver Edge on Low as well, so even more damage on this Drow. Have that added break ability. And Poke, 13k behind, still looking quite lost as to how to come back into this. As mid lane, Aaron's going to show up. Aaron, he'll go for a snowball, but Well, he goes back to Beyond and still has no Blink Dagger up. Beyond, though, actually can't reach him. Even with the rebound, they just could not get within range. So never mind, Aaron's fine.
Yeah, but look at his smoke. They saw Lunfer with an illusion.
No, not Lunfer. Snowball's gonna connect. Out from our Rubik. Solar Guardian, not gonna do enough. Ouch.
Oh boy.
He was right underneath the ward as well. I mean, I guess they just placed it, but oh, it's just so tough to watch.
Yeah, if you just run down the ramp and Illusion's waiting for you there, it's like, all right, perfect smoke. And now you have the full site up for 7E. He's been farming this entire time. He has not been showing up to these fights. He's got some control. He needs to back off. He backs off in the nick of time. So now you have your hard lockdown for the puck.
I mean, he's really making use of this snowball, John. It's very annoying when it comes to a Rubik. Like, he can just keep initiating with snowball lift. There's not much you can do about it.
Yeah, and there's not much you can do about this high ground push either. And just look at it melt. This is... I always find it funny when Drow pushes, because look at her projectile speed. It looks pathetically slow and low momentum, but it sure melts those buildings, Mike.
It sure does, John.
It's so slow. It's so slow. And meanwhile, Lena's like a machine gun, but well, that melts stuff really quick too. But Drow's is the funniest one. It's like,
give him the sidekick. There we go. Beautiful. Backdoor prediction going to kick in. Killer going to break it afterwards. Spirit Vessel is there though. Snowball out as well. Looks like they've locked down the DP, and Killer, well, he's still surviving just for a little bit, but not for long. Ran Futao, he's going to be okay to back, but that mid-Rax cannot do the same. It must stand there and take the punishment as Beyond. Speaking of punishment, he's on to the Lena. Lunfer is gone. He just melts. Ran Futao, the only real survivor here along with V. And the Polaris voice lines, they'll continue to come out.
Oh my god. I mean, it's... I don't think you can stop this push. Like, you blew Dream Coil, you blew EXO. You don't really have much teamfight left here. I mean, Egg is gone, but the sheer output, jeez.
Oh, V. V gets caught. Tianming, very annoying on this Rubik. That'll be a secondary lane of Rax, and of course YBB, if they want, they can just go for the third. Looks like they are going to play it a little bit safe, but it's just about pushing out that top wave. Low is just going to run right towards a tier 3 because it can't attack him back anyway. Very, very nice. I mean, there comes a point where you wonder if towers should just move, you know? Like, towers should just be able to get up and start moving.
Maybe? I don't know. I don't know how to fix this, because, again, this has just been a consistent problem in Dota for a while. Again, I'd like to remind everyone of the good old Venge used to give you attack range on ranged heroes with TA, Dragonlance. That was a very fun time. I'm not sure you balance it, Mike. Maybe if you're hitting a tower outside range with no creeps around it, and backdoor's not kicking it should have like a secondary backdoor thing where it just throws a massive rock at you that stuns you once every, like, I don't know, 10 seconds? 15 seconds? That sounds fun. Something weird like that.
That would be cool.
You know, just... Yeah.
Going on to our earlier conversation, by the way, with
Yes, Mike.
What is it, John? Well, you sound like you've seen something.
No,
You're right, John.
I'm genuinely wondering what you want to talk about. What's up, Mike?
Remember that the troll conversation we were having when I asked you how do you improve battle trance? My idea, right, is once you press R
here we go.
in like an AoE, right? Like say like a 500-600 AoE, you just throw in snares out on anybody there, and they all get netted for like 2 seconds. No, but think about it. Doesn't that make it more fair? Because it makes sense.
Actually, I would not disagree. I think that sounds pretty fun. Like this troll just on like 50 HP suddenly gets really angry. His range attack just roots all of you. And you know, every time it will reverse it. Like say you switch the range and the melee, and the range is root 100%. Yeah, it sounds really ridiculous, but sure, I'll take it.
You're welcome, Val. Just give me a few commissions for that idea if you don't mind. Low. Lowe's going to go off the tier 4 towers. I mean, they haven't called it on the side of Poke, because again, these wins do mean a lot, but the problem is they are getting jumped right now. Look at the backside. Beyond is just deleting Killer. Snowball is going to save for now, but not for long. Killer, still trapped between a rock and a hard place, is going to drop as they go for another. Lonfer is gone. Onto Run Fu Dao. He will drop to boot. I mean, you don't have buyback on this Lina, even if you wanted to right now. They are still going to try. Poke.
It's 9:30.
Still defending as long as you can. But they are going to die. In we go for more. Egg drop. GG is called. They have seen enough.
Yeah, I mean, they held on for a lot longer on Poke. For